Welcome back to Flatsclass University. Today we're going to talk about a hard bait that is near and dear to my heart, and that would have to be the Texas Custom Lures Double D. Now this has been a fantastic bait that has just been exceeding my expectations since I got back from the Houston fishing show. And you're probably saying, well, CA, that looks just like a Mirrolure XL. Well, it is, but they have some unique color combinations associated with this company, and they have changed the weight of the plug, and they haven't done it in any other way other than changing the style hooks that they put on here. Now, this does not look like the one that I just showed you, because this one here has been flexing for me for about 2 weeks. I mean, getting hammered. I'll bet this bait has caught 5 or 6 dozen trout, a couple of redfish to boot over the top of the rock bars, and 1 or 2 pretty good sized snook. But the real deal is, if you've got Mirrolure XLs in your shop, your garage, your boat, well, you can turn any of them into one of these custom baits by just changing the hooks. That's right. I've been experimenting with this for a while. Billy Henderson shared, well, I'll tell you what, let's go down to the shop and I'll show you. Let's go. Feels much more comfortable in here in the studio versus out there by the boat barn. It's already reaching the 90s here in Florida, if you can believe it or not. The first week of April, it just blows my mind. It feels like summer now. What happened to spring? But it is spring. The bait is showing up on the beaches. The bait is showing up in the bays. It's showing up on the flats. And it is the perfect time to be throwing Mirrolures, especially the Mirrolure XL, because some of the smaller bait has been around for a little while, the last couple of months and a half or so, but it's maturing into this size. And this is the XL. This is the 27. Now, going on 2 decades ago, Mirrolure came out with the 17, which was the smaller predecessor to this bait. But Eric realized, who runs the company, owns the company actually, he realized that he was going to have to make this in graduations of size so that it would be representative of all the seasons. Well, this 27 size has been fantastic. It really has. And in fact, because of its weight, its size, it is just probably the preferred hard bait for those of us that love targeting big speckled trout in the spring. It's just fantastic for that. And if you're fortunate enough to live in zones where there are snook, you'll catch them too. So let's break it down by the numbers first. The bait is 3 1/8 inch long. It weighs 9/16. That weight is important because it gives you a nice healthy cast on a variety of casting gear and spinning gear. It is slow sink to actually suspend, and I could put even float, and I'm going to share that little trick with you soon. And it works effectively anywhere from 1 to, I put 3 feet of water, but it can, if you weight it properly, work in 4 feet of water as well. But we've developed another one of these called the Heavy Dean, and I just didn't want to confuse you. And then I put on here customizable. Now it doesn't say customizable on this package, okay? But you saw at the boat that packaging out there looked a lot different than Mirrolure packaging. And that's because Eric and the team literally make baits for a bunch of different brands that are partnered with Mirrolure, like the Texas Custom Lure Company. And they even make them and package them for retailers in custom colors. So you could get standard Mirrolure XLs made in a color of your liking if you would buy 60 at a time. So that's a pretty nice deal right there. And if you've been following my channel or my show for any length of time, you know that we have our own colors that we like to promote. But right now, I just want to talk about the old number 18, which is the most popular one, and it fits into a lot of different bait systems. Now you might say, well, listen, what's so special about Mirrolure's Mirrodine XL? I could buy Bass Pro XPS or Temu or any of these off brands that you've never heard of. They don't have nearly as many colors as Mirrolure, I can tell you that for sure. And the baits do not perform the way that Mirrolure's has been tested. They tank test all the baits, and they fall perfectly level, every one of them. They don't fall tail first, they don't fall head first, they fall nice and normal, the way they're supposed to. They wedge through the water. And that way, when you flick them, they hang and stop. They don't go like this, and they don't go like this. They're perfect. This particular size is just, like I said earlier, the favorite for trout fishermen. And that's because we can customize it. And I'm going to share that with you in this video here. Take a look at some of the sink rates based on me just changing out the hooks, from the standard hooks to the hooks that are a little bit heavier gauge to the hooks that are so light that they float, and then a new hook, the Viper hook from BKK, that allows it to sink so slow and gives me all kinds of time. I'm going to tell you why this is important. So as you can see in that short little clip there, all of the sink rates vary based on the size, wire gauge of those hooks, and just, it's amazing. Some will float, some sink so slow, some sink a little faster, and some sink really fast. And that is something that I've always played around until Mirrolure came out with the 28 MR, which is the heavy version of this that allows you to work it in current and faster current and deeper depths. But for my purposes in the springtime, I love having the ability to fish a hard bait like this extremely slow. And that's because these big trout move shallow and you're making these long casts, and you sometimes have to negotiate grass, oyster, lime rock where I live here. But it's that versatility with the hook size and the sink rate that is the biggest significant difference between our Mirrodine XL and everybody else. You can change it up and it will behave different. Now, a lot of the baits out there that mimic the Mirrodines will have a lot of shot in them, so they don't have as much depth control. So many of them will fall, like I said, backwards or forwards just because they've got so many noisemakers in them. With the Mirrodine XL, if you were to open it up, you'd see it's just one little 2 BBs in there that make that noise. And in fact, here's another little clip that you can see how the bait's just flashing through the water. And it's pretty cool how that bait stays at the same level. Whichever level you want to work it at, it stays right there. And it has a unique, subtle sound that draws fish. Doesn't spook them, draws them. All right. The lure speed and tempo, because it is perfectly balanced, you know, where it sinks horizontally like that, and you can flick it with these little micro flicks, and it doesn't go head first or tail first down, you can control how fast it moves. So I can move it very slow. So I can flick, 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 and let it stall. And it will either sink very slow, depending on what I have on there hook-wise, or sometimes it'll actually rise to the surface just a little bit before I flick it again. It has big fish appeal, and a lot of that has to do is it's not going through their cone of awareness too fast. Like when you're moving a bait fast because you have to, because it's sinking too much, you're having to like make spastic moves with your rod or you're reeling fast to try to keep it at depth control all the time. Well, let me tell you, if your lure is moving through shallow water, clear shallow water like a butterfly, that kind of spastic movement, you're not going to catch any fish. You're just going to spook the heck out of them. This gives me that big fish appeal because I can move it so slow. I've got plenty of time. Nothing bad's going to happen. I'm not going to get caught up on the bottom. And that's where I say negotiates cover. It does a fantastic job of getting over grass, getting over oyster. And as you saw in the tank, if I want it to sink all the way to the bottom in a nice sandy depression, I can let it rest right on the bottom like a real bait fish. Just rest dead still like that, and then pick it up and move it again. And you'd be surprised how many times I've done that on a sandbar and the fish just crush it. They just smash it. But these types of features that you can customize in the bait by just changing hook size and split ring size. It's just amazing the variability that you get, and it's what makes the Mirrodine XL super, super special, especially that one profile. In fact, there are days in March and April and May that is about the only lure I have tied on for clients in fact, I want you to go watch this, because this was exciting. I did this trip with Kevin Austin just the day before yesterday, and it was just, I mean, a fire drill. All he threw all day long was the custom Texas lure, and it's the Double D, and he's throwing it in the Crown Royal cover. Well, you go watch this, and I'll be right here to finish up. Trying to play nice with him. I want to see how big he is before I make the decision to net him or not. Oh yeah, he's a longer fish. Yeah, that's a good fish. Come down. Boy, yeah, I'm gonna net this one if I can. There we go. Look at that. Look at the size of that trout. I have them with one hook. It didn't start that way. Yeah. Nice. Get your camera out. I'll take a quick pic. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll take care of him. I'll take care of him. Get him.
Look out beyond that black water.
Yep, there's a slick over there.
Yeah, beyond to the left of that, right in line with that tower. Some, tell what it is moving out there. Roll from the,
Yeah, I knew he had it. I was like, what else could he have? I think he ate it and was swimming at you. Yeah, it's a nicer redfish too. I'm like, I know he's got him. I was like, what else would that thing be doing? We're getting them today.
Pretty sure that's it's not coming out.
Yeah, you buried it, sank it in them.
Yeah.
Not quite as big as the last one, but decent.
I wish the last guy would have eaten that bait like he did.
Yeah, he's serious about this one. Pretty good sized fish. Yeah. Woo! Whoa!
You see the mouth on that puppy?
Yeah, I'm gonna turn us around. Where is he going? He didn't have enough water to go in the other way. I'm gonna get down as soon as you get him under control. You're good. Don't try to. You worry about him. We just don't want him going in the trees.
Pull this out. Yeah.
Oh, that's where he's going. Don't pull too hard. Drive it backwards. Okay, let me get down. Let's see where he is. Still see him? Yeah. Yeah. Branch. I'm gonna try to get that branch. Yeah, I see it right in here. Hold on. Not yet. I just got to keep you. Okay. All right. Let me get you to get tight on them again. Got it. Okay. Well, after all of that, nice and steady pressure, nothing too crazy. It's like in the corner of his mouth and the big snook. Wow. Dude. What? Right in there. Look at that.
Yeah.
Wow, that is why we do it.
That was awesome.
That was a lot of work, but we ended up doing it. All right, we'll get him undone real quick. It's not going to take but a minute because these are basically barbless hooks. So let's work on him, then we'll get a quick pick. Oh, nice job. Oh, on the Mirrolure XL. What a fish. That is a day maker.
That's what makes it worthwhile.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, man.
Well, he's straightened the hooks out on 2 of these, but it was this little J. Watkins. This is the J. Watkins Senior Trout plug that we had tied on in the Crown Royal. And look how rough that leader is. He had it all the way up to there. Crazy. And that was a medium light Fitzgerald with 10-pound micro braid.
Yeah,
this is just a little piece of 30 that we put on here attached to some 15 or 20 pound fluoro. But that little bit of fluorocarbon right there, boy, it saved us. It literally saved us. He would have gone through it in no time if it was any thinner. And then plus the fact that he rolled around every tree in here.
Yeah.
I mean, we had him tied up in all these branches. Not panicking, we got him out.
Yeah, easing up on him was key, just to
just not to freak him out.
Yeah.
All right, let's retie and we're going back at it. A fantastic trip with Kevin, and it's just one of a long list of them that I've had this spring thus far, and all of them happen because of this one bait. And I promise you, if you put it in your tackle bag and even fish it right out of the box without altering the hooks, you're going to be super satisfied. The whole customizable deal with lightening up the hooks, that just allows you to fish really, really shallow. This time of year, it's just fun. It's just fun. That's when I use it the most. And you'll notice if you were to look under the gunnels of my boat that I'll have a couple rigged right out of the package where I'm fishing a little bit deeper water. And when I say deeper, I'm meaning like 3 to 4 foot of water. I've got some heavy Deans. We used to put larger hooks on these when we wanted to fish a little bit deeper, and it just made them sink faster. But all of the lighter ones, if you don't want to go to the expense, because they're expensive, those Texas custom lures. They're not cheap. They're not what the normal Mirrolure costs. In fact, I found their hooks to be a little vulnerable and not keep their sharpness. So I've gone to 2 hooks that I have a lot of confidence in. One would definitely be Mustad's Ultra Point. That is the KVD EWG hooks, and they're in the 1X strong. And Captain Billy Henderson here in Citrus turned me onto those. And they seem to weight the bait where it will just, the 27 will float, and then you will dive it down, it will stay at depth and hang, and you can pause for, you know, a second and a half before it starts to come back up again, and then you can dart it again. So it gives you the perfect tempo. That one comes highly recommended. I did play around with these, and I'm super happy with these. They have the perfect slow sink. These are from BKK. These are the Vipers in the Viper series, not the Fang series, the Viper series. And these are size 4, and you're going to want to use 4 in those Ultra Points as well, the 1X strong Ultra Points from Mustad. If you're using those size 4 hooks, they will give you that proper fall. And nothing works better. And the stability that you have with the Trebs, they just bring that thing right down so soft. And it's just like a little parachute. It's hard to describe. But when you fish it over oyster, you fish it over grass, and you see how the fish respond to it, you do fall in love with this plug. And I'm telling you, I'm not kidding you, March, April, and you'll be wanting to hang on to it in May as long as you can, because it's hardbait season, folks. And I mean, this is the time of year when you can use hardbaits and you're not dealing with a lot of grass sheds or anything like that, and you catch a lot of the right fish before you move into the time of the year where we're going to be Texas rigging, a lot of jerk shads and bigger swim baits and things like that. This type of information I share all the time with my members over there at Flatsclass University. If you want to be one of us, go on over there to flatsclassuniversity.com. Join us. We have structured courses. We have weekly chalk talks. We do lure challenges with great prizes. And we have some incredible guest speakers that come from lure manufacturers, professional guides, record chasers. I try to get them to come talk to my members. That's all I've got for you. If you enjoyed this video, well then come back tomorrow because I'm going to have another one for you. Thanks again, and thanks for watching.